Psalms 33, 34, 35, and we're doing the final, I'm doing the final cleanup on this, and hopefully the final cleanup, and then trying to put a title to them, or name them. So let's start with 33 here. Whoops. And didn't even check. Color's okay, I guess. This looks to be like a long one, so I'm going to leave it kind of blowing up, but I'm going to work on it here. Let's try to figure out the editing on it. We need to, since it's going to be a file, and I'm doing all the editing and I'm not coloring it, so just as a reminder that you have to see the original back on the other videos. And step 1, sing for joy to YV, you righteous ones, praise him in our praising him is our love for him. Give thanks to YV with the lyre. Sing praises to him. Sing to him a new song. Now this could be Jesus. So if the text starts revealing Jesus, the word him has to be changed to Jesus. And then you would have sing praises to him and sing to him your new songs, played skillfully. I'm just trying to put Jesus here, played singfully with joy. I would have to put played skillfully and with joy. For the words from YV, are to the upright, morally just people, and all his work is for is faithful. Faithful ones, like righteous ones. He loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of his love, his loves. He loves righteousness and justice. For the earth is to be full is to, for the earth is to be filled. For the earth is to be filled with his love kindness for us. The earth is to be filled with his love kindness for us. The earth is to be filled with his love for us. For his love for us. By the words from YV, the heavens were made, and by his breath came all life. He gathered waters for the seas, together they are a boundary. He lays up their depths like storehouses. I still can't think of words to put in here. Let everyone on earth fear YV. Let every inhabitant, let every race, that is using the word today, let every race on earth stand in awe of him. For he spoke and it was done, he commanded and it stood fast. He nullifies, I'm thinking of another word that 12-year-olds would be able to read. He nullifies. He cancels the council of the kingdoms. He cancels the council of. He cancels the council. He cancels the counseling. To kingdoms. He cancels the counseling to. He cancels the counseling to the kingdoms. He cancels their counselings to their kingdoms. He frustrates the plans for their people. He frustrates the plans for their people. But the counseling from YHVH stands but the counseling to us from YHVH stands forever. But the counseling from YHVH stands forever with us. But the counseling from YHVH, because he counsels them, because the counseling, but I could get rid of this. He frustrates the plans for his people, yet the counseling for us from YHVH, but yet I'm going to put his here. His counseling for us stands forever. His plans are from his heart. From generation to generation, blessed is our nation, and this would be of good people. And since they are tribes, and each tribe is like a state, together they are a nation. I've tried to explain that before, where a kingdom is ruled by one king. But the way, example, when they were split in two, they became kingdoms. A kingdom for Israel, 10 tribes, and a king for the 2 tribes. So they were called kingdoms, but together they're a nation, referring to our Creator when he said he's going to lead his nation out of Israel, or out of Egypt, whose Creator is what from generation to generation. Blessed is our nation, whose Creator is YHVH. Our people are whom he chose. Yes, that's what I was just saying. He looks from heaven and sees every man. From his dwelling place he looks on all races. He made their hearts, he understands their works. The king is not saved by a mighty army. A warrior is not delivered by great strength. This here, how it's tied, has to go with these two. A horse is a false hope for victory, nor does it deliver anyone by its great strength. YHVH's eyes is on those who fear him. YHVH's eyes are on those who fear him, and those who hope for his love kindness, to deliver their soul from the abyss and keep them alive in a famine. Our soul waits for YHVH. Our hearts wait for YHVH to send our king. This is blank unless I write this in here. To send our king. And this would be like this. Everything has to be said. I added it. This is what I do when I have a blank sentence or know there's needs a verse. So he waits for, our hearts wait for YV to send our king. He is our help and shield. For our hearts rejoice in him. Yeah, see those need to change this to he is our I could put the word Savior here. He is our help and shield. Our hearts, for our hearts rejoices, for our hearts. For our hearts rejoice. For our hearts will rejoice. I would like to put seeing him. For our hearts will rejoice with him. For our hearts will rejoice with him. Okay, now they need to be colored here. And then the last one, because we trust in your holy name, let your love kindness be upon us, according as we have hoped in you. Okay, now this I needed here. And sing to him. I'm going to put the word Yah, or title, here. And sing to Yah. Sing to Yah. I'm going to say songs of him. And then this will be out. This will be out. Then this. Okay. Because the text actually went this way, these words have to be up here. Now, I know I'm going to Psalms 149, you can watch that video, or when you read that video. I'm going to put that first in the list, and because that pretty much states that this is the name they gave Jesus. When you put in the actual Hebrew titles or the words, even though they're in English letters, you don't know what they mean until you read a lot of verses to understand what the verses are saying, or how the verses define the title or that word, and they were defining Jesus. So this was going to be 34 here. Oh yeah, I got to go back and I got to put a title on that one. Because they are pretty much singing about Jesus, the righteous. The righteous, wait for Yah. Now I can think that's a good title there. 34. YHVH at all times my praise for you will be I think this needs to be in the next verse. Continually my mouth will boast of you. YHVH at all times. YHVH at all times my praise is to you, is of you. Of you. Continually my mouth will boast of you, that our captives will hear it and rejoice. Okay, we have the word captive, that's a key here. Boast with me, let them boast with me, and let us exalt his name together, for I sought from YHVH, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Now they look to him. Now they look to him. This has to be Jesus here. For the simple fact that now they look for Jesus to come, and their faces are unashamed from all my fears. Now we look to him. Now we look to him and now we look for him, to him. Now we look for him, because they don't know when he's coming, and our faces are unashamed. Now here, I'm going to put Yah here, just because some people might not know who him is, even though it's in red. Now here, now YHVH hears them. YHVH hears all of us. I would say now is not needed here, although I'm thinking I probably added that word. YHVH hears all of us. No, YHVH hears them, because I'm trying to, YHVH hears us. YHVH hears us and saves us from our troubles. YHVH hears us and will save and will save us from our troubles. For YV encamps around those fearing him, and he will. YV encamps around those fearing him, he will rescue them. I'm thinking the word "and" has to be, and he will rescue them. Now I changed them from here and here and here. Now it's kind of like a future. All of a sudden it's put here where I have to use the word them. I was using "our" and "us" because it was tied up here. YV will hear them. This is when Yah is coming, so it is. YV will. YV will hear them. Hear them and save them, because he's to come as king, and will save them from their troubles. For YV encamps around those fearing him, and he will rescue them. How blessed is man who takes refuge in him. Fear YV, you his people. And since this is like this, it has to be Jesus's people. Fear YV, you his people. Take refuge in him. Blessed is man who you have to take refuge in our Creator, not Jesus. How blessed is man who takes refuge in him, and fear, for we are to fear YV, you his people. How blessed is man who takes refuge in him. Fear YV, you his people. For those who fear him, there is no want, or your young will not lack nor suffer. This would be our Creator hymn. For to those who fear him, there is no want. Your young will not lack or suffer hunger. Come to me, children, listen to me. I will teach you to fear YV, who is the person that desires life. They love their days, for they see his goodness. Keep your tongue from evil, and your lips from speaking deceit, that you depart from evil and do good. YV's eyes are towards his righteous. His righteous ones, and his ears hear their cry. Here's their prayer, here's their words. Words would cover if you're crying out, you're asking, or he hears you when you're talking to him. So it can't just be for one, it has to be for more than one reason why he hears you. but YV is against the evildoers to cut off the memory of them. Okay. I think that is be righteous and wait for yeah to receive blessings from YV. Okay, that's a long title, but that's, I guess that's a general what's being said here, and it's placed at captivity. Don't know whether the words didn't say whether it was the when Israel was captive. Well, yeah, it does kind of say that because the text here. But if this is wrote by a prophet, I'm trying to think of who would write this first. This does not sound like a king, right? It does not sound like a commander. Does not sound like an elder. Maybe an elder. Scribe might have, the way I'm looking at how a scribe writes, he tells us a story of why we are to do what we're to do, to obey him. Here, and he answered me, this is a prophet. This is a prophet. Words from a prophet. Whoops. That's what happens when you got to hunt and peck with each letter. Words from a prophet. And it's not so much about Jesus, but it does speak of him, but it's not enough to tell us more than just that this is, well, because it's at captivity, this means it's way after David. So words from prophet to our captives. Okay, and there we have reasons why it is a prophet who wrote this. Now let's see, 35. Whoops, that was 30. No, this is 35. Okay. Whoops, it's got already. Okay. YV, those who contend with me about you. YV, those who argue. Who YV, those who argue with me about you. fighting against us with those. Well, this has to be down here with those who now, I don't know if this is battle or not, have to do this. Why be those who argue with me about you are now fighting against us. Are now fighting against us with those who it would be now or are fighting against me. I'm going to need to get to this. Take hold. Rise up for my help. This would have to be you are my buckler and shield. Rise up for my help as I use my spear. As I use my sword. This would be my help. These words don't need to be here. They just, you are could be just protector, but in a battle they would use this buckler and shield. The buckler is considered the guy in front of him holding the shield or keeping his back protected while he's fighting somebody else. Okay, just so you understand. And he's got a shield. He's just there to protect the king. Okay, and probably more than one of them when he's battling. But you are my buckler and shield. So I better put a capital B here and shield. I guess they should be all capital letters, but that can be decided later. To meet those who deceive us. To meet, I will use my sword to meet those who... Now, why is this... Okay, I was just thinking that that could almost hook to a 4 verse. It could, but this is definitely a 3. So I just got confused. Maybe the 3 wasn't correct. To meet in battle. To meet in battle with those who deceived. I will use my sword to meet with those who deceive us. For they say about my soul, which means afterlife. They are our salvation. And that is something you have to understand, that they believe that they become gods after they have this sitting in meditation and having a so-called sex with a female goddess. Now, I haven't probably got into that, but I'm going to get into that on this one, for the simple fact that, let's see, that you don't know or might not know that this verse here, let me make sure it's up, okay. This is where Judah, the kingdom of Judah, they have married the daughter of a foreign god. The only way you can do that is sit in meditation, and at certain times of a moon month that you get to have this experience with her. And what I want to do is I want to put up here that she's tied to the moon goddess, and you've probably seen this in on the Islamic mosques. And this here is Venus rising Venus tied to the moon goddess. Okay, now you'll see a lot of these images when you look up the word kundalini and see what that is. But what happens is, because everybody can have a sex with it, in Revelations it talks about the mother of all horrors, the mystery of Babylon. Here Jeremiah is referring to her as the Queen of Heaven, and in all the cities of Judah they were making these cakes and pouring out their libations to her. And they have an argument here that they perform their vows and give their Queen of Heaven and pour libations. And this went well with them, even though I think it's maybe both these together. Yeah, our forefathers and kings and princes did this in the city. So you can see that this practice of got is what our Creator was saying. If you sin against me by not me being your Creator, I will send you into captivity. And this is what they broke his promises to him. He promised them this, but they didn't do that, so they were to be sent into captivity. Therefore, this is, they are saying, we are your salvation, meaning they have the answers and they don't, for the simple fact that there's a video in my description. It won't be the first one in these videos, but it's in there, and it talks about how any male from probably 13 years old until they're very old, that they can experience their soul visiting another dimension of time, which is known as the abyss, and talk to the dead. Now, or those that have left this earth permanently, or can communicate with another person at the same time, wanting to meet on the other side or on the other dimension from earth. But the object is, I'm trying to get to, is that in the East they sit and meditate every day, and every day they're meditating. It takes right around 10 years before they start actually witnessing a being coming to them in this other dimension, and they can speak to him and talk to him. And after, I think it's 20, 25 years, it happens every day to them. This is why they say they become the gods, because out there, if you have a strong will out there, you can create things. A lot of things you would mimic from the earth, though. And once you find that out, as a witness for yourself, it's a self-proof witnessing that you have a soul for the males. I'm sure when science catches up, females will be able to have this self-witnessing as well. But this is their answer for them knowing that they have an afterlife, because those that don't have this practice, they don't find out there in the abyss. You have to die first to become out there. So just for you to know that this is what the word salvation means here. We are your salvation. Let those be ashamed and be dishonored. Let those be humiliated who devise this evilness against us. And the evilness is that they're not obeying our Creator's commandments. Let them be like chaff before the wind, by your angel driving them on, for the way is dark and slippery. Like by your angel driving them away, not on, but away. And this is also referring to our Creator sending a plague in when David was, I don't know which prophet approached David, but David made a census of his fighters, or the people in under his kingdom, and that was not what our Creator wanted. So our Creator gave David, your text says 3, but there's actually 2 when you read the 2 choices, and one is to be chased by the enemy for 3 months, or that he will send an angel and have a plague and many people will die, so that number can't be known again. So this is what, like an angel driving them away, send this plague to them for their way of life is darkness. And it's not really slippery, so don't need that. Their way of life is in darkness. Let their destruction come upon them. And if you don't think I know how to edit the text, you're crazy. This is exactly what's needed here. There is a verse by Jesus that says we are to become wiser than the scribes. Well, okay, there it is. I'm wiser than scribes knowing this. You don't know this. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you to teach you this. Also, your 1611 preface, your translator said anyone who knows the story can edit the text. So they're editing it for their female goddess. I'm editing it for our Creator, for you to be able to understand what happened back then, and what you need to be doing is, as some of the words have been said here, be looking for Jesus when he comes. Be ready, okay? Obey our Creator, and then our Creator will send you to Jesus, and then Jesus will then allow you to enter into heaven. Let their destruction come upon them, and let their nets, and let their net they hid, let their net they hid, catch themselves for destruction, for their destruction, catch himself for their destruction and death. Let them fall to catch him for their destruction. And if they're falling, they're not really falling, they're death. Let their net they hid catch. It would be themselves. Let their net they hid catch themselves for their destruction and death. For my soul will rejoice. My soul will rejoice. I'm going to say with YV, because that's what he wants us to enter into heaven. That might just be what all creation is about. And what's it all about? Is the final, you either are living with our Creator or you're not living with our Creator forever. Okay? Our Creator is, I guess, done with the evil in heaven, sorting us out here on earth. For my soul will rejoice with YV, and I will exalt in his, I will be exalted. Be exalted by his salvation. And I say, who is like him? I say to them who is like him. See, their gods don't talk to people. That's what's unique about the text in the Bible. See, they had to start with some text, and they started with these first writers writing words, and then they started changing them when they started, Israel started going on to the female goddess, and our Creator sent them away. And now Judah, like I showed you that, Judah has, the whole kingdom now is starting to do this practice onto her. So here he is arguing with them, and now he argues about the salvation, the difference between them having salvation and the salvation coming from our Creator, who delivers the afflicted and from who are too strong for them. From who are too strong for them. Ours are the afflicted and needy. Who delivers the afflicted from who is too strong for them. Now ours are afflicted and needy. Now ours are afflicted and needy. Their malicious, their malicious witness, their false witnesses rise up. I'm going to put false. Their false witnesses rise up and ask me things I do not know, to the bereavement of my soul, to the harm of my soul, to the grief of my no. That would be one that I would like to look up here, and that is 35. So this might take a second here. 35. Boy, I haven't been here in a while. Bereavement. Loss of children. Well, I do not know, to the loss of my soul. I will put that. To the loss of my soul. They ask me things I do not know, just like I'm telling you things that you don't know. But in that video that you can go visit, I tell you, that is what makes me different, for the simple fact that I told you, or in that video, I tell you how you can create things by having a strong will when you get there. And when you get there, you can too create things just by willing them, but it needs a strong will. And what you'll find is that if you talk to them about Jesus or our Creator, they're going to get mad at you, and they're going to try to fight you, and they're going to try to kill you, and they will try to kill you. And that is when our Creator made me see Him 7 of the 8 times. So I know about battling them down there. Now, there's many stories I could tell you of what goes on down there, but the righteous males who actually battle down there, or wherever the abyss is, they too will be tried to be killed and will not return to the earth, especially if they're not righteous. But if they're righteous, our Creator will make them see Him, and then they'll open up their eyes, and they too will say, our Creator made me see Him. Brilliant purity. They ask me things I do not know, to the loss of my soul. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. But at my humbling they rejoiced, or at my stumbling they rejoiced, and gathered themselves together, the deceivers whom I did know. They slandered me. They slandered me with. Now they slander me. He refused to join them, so now they slander. Now they slander me without ceasing, like godless jesters at a pagan feast, and gnash their teeth. Like godless jesters at a pagan feast, they gnash at me with their teeth. They grin at me to show you my teeth. They grin. They don't gnash. Gnash would be grinding. I believe it would mean grinding. Do I know every word in the Text, clench, yes, okay. They grin at me with their teeth. Hee 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 hee. Okay, hee hee. Although Nash might be, I think I better put Nash back in there. And not gnashed at me, Nash. They gnash at me with their teeth. I give thanks. I give YV thanks in our great. These aren't congregations. These are great gatherings. And this would be when they were to hold the Passover and the celebrate for 8 days. Everyone was supposed to come to Jerusalem. So if this is a great, this would be that great gathering. Okay. And praise you among our mighty army. Well, if they're at the great gathering, thanks to God and our great army, praise you among our great. Okay, now this is a king then. If he's able to speak to the army, we have a king. King who? Buckler and shield. This can't take king, I guess unknown king. Right now. For they did not speak peace. For they did not speak peace. They devised us. They devised deceitful words. For they did not speak peace. They devised deceitful words for us. Against those who are in the land. For they do not speak peace. They devise deceitful words for us. To be against those in our land. To be against us who are in our land. Us who are in our land. Okay, you can see that this is falling away. I'm really serious. This one here is Judah. Now they open their mouth against me, for they say, ha ha, your eyes have seen it. Meaning that he tried the practice and he's seen the female goddess. Okay? Now, these two words, ha ha, you will not know. But when you have this practice, because I did the same thing this king did, and then I rejected it. But what happens is at a certain time there's a bubble that comes around the body that's manifested in the body. Their O Holy Spirit, their O God, their O Lord. You'll find the word O in the text, I think over 360 times. But the problem is there is no O in the Hebrew language. So you know that they've added that. So the truth is that you can see they're deceiving you by saying they're, oh God, oh Lord, oh Creator. where you're saying it, oh God, oh Lord, oh Creator. See, this is the deceiving words for you that they've placed there. Now, what happens when that bubble stops going around the body, the first words that come out of your mouth is ha ha. It just you just voice these words. Now the funny thing is uh, a lot of them don't realize that when they had this experience, that's what happened. They don't remember everything. Our Creator has given me more answers than a lot of people on Earth. In fact, I think it's this image. Yes, it's this image that I have placed here that is my knowledge to show how high it is. And this is for the Taoist. And when they get here, they will notice that this is something I did to one of their symbols. And when they see what I've done to the text, they will know that I know what I'm talking about, because they know these words were, well, because they've recorded many things, and I know more than they do, which would surprise them, because that first video I told you about, or the video in there about witnessing the abyss, that means you don't need to have their sex practice to be there, okay? That's what's going to shock them. And when I say brilliant purity, in their I Ching, they have bright flash. The words bright flash. And yes, I do know that as well. Or our Creator has made me witness Him that way as well. When my words failed at the beginning of that explanation there about Him. Your eyes have seen it. Your eyes have seen it would be our goddess, but it is actually, they call her a goddess only because she has long hair, okay, or appears to have long hair, and appears in like a veiled dress. But the object is that only happens once, and then it's naked before you. But actually, that's what your soul looks like, except for the hair. The hair is being created by that, by Satan. That's Satan. Satan is pretending to be the female goddess. He is not playing God. He is playing the female goddess part. No nipples, no breast, no belly button, no sex. How do they call her a goddess? Or it a goddess? Only by the long hair. Males have long hair. They have a hard time explaining to me how they know a goddess, because that she's a goddess. Anyways, that's an argument for me and them. And you have, your eyes have seen our goddess, and you have seen it, YV. Do not keep silent, Lord, my Lord. Do not be far from me. Judge me, YV, my Creator, according to your righteousness. And do not let them rejoice over me. Do not let them say in their heart, ha ha. I desire them not to say, we have swallowed him up. Let them be ashamed and humiliated, who rejoice in my distress. Let them be clothed with shame and dishonor, who magnify themselves over me. Those who favor my righteousness, let them say continually, YV is to be exalted. Okay. Who delights in in his prosperity of his servants, who delights in the prosperity of his servants. My tongue will declare your righteousness. Okay. I need to take a break. I'll be right back. Here is Jesus' words. There is no Trinity. What this text does, though, for us, is makes me want to break out my work on the kings here. And then, because we have this king witnessing their goddess and then denying her, let me show you something here. This is a good king. Now, these might be his words, because we have his words, and it doesn't speak of that. And like I said, this sounded like a Judah because Kingdom of Judah is on this side, Israel's on this side, and you can see they've already been into captivity. But this king here, this guy right here, let me do this. This guy right here, now, he was having sex with a female goddess, and he put his idol of her, he made an idol and stuck it into the house for our Creator, in his house. Now, your text in the Bible talks about how they put horse gods in there. And let me tell you something about this practice, that once a year, that a male's penis or male's maleness retracts inside his body like an animal, like a horse goddess. Okay, a horse god. Now, if you take a look at Islamic pictures, they have Muhammad riding on a horse with the face of a female goddess. You look up an ancient half man, half beast, and you'll see the Assyrian, the Babylon, half man, half animal. I tell a lot of people that's what the Sphinx is, but in reality, they didn't know that there was a body underneath. They just put the Pharaoh's head on it. And that shows that the world did have a flood, that it was covered up but the head of a lion, and they went and reshaped it to a pharaoh, a king of Egypt. But the object here is, I am going to say now the unknown king is this guy right here. This is Josiah. Now let me think here. Because I'm thinking he's the one that went and put out for all these people that were left in this land, but what was very left over, to come and start to re-celebrate the passing over as a gathering around the house for our Creator as it was in the days of old. And everybody laughed at them. Well, those that showed up, our Creator blessed and healed every one of them, and then they went out and started destroying all this stuff that was in the land. But then this idiot, his son, didn't believe it. He most likely had the practice too, and so this king here, and this is the end. But the object is I'm going to use this king as the answer for the unknown king, which makes this quite cool that we now have another king. So the goddess. So their goddess. Very important text here. But another writing by another king has been found. Okay? And this is, yes. Now fighting against us with those who okay, let me see here. Why those who argue with me about you are now fighting against us, with those who are now I know I added the word now this time here, and this edit, with those who now fighting against us. I'm going to change the word fight to argue, are now arguing against us, with those who are now fighting against us, with those who argued against me. Now fighting against us, are now fighting against us. Yeah, this doesn't need to be here. This needs to be argued, because the text showed that he'd refused her. So now they're going to everybody and just saying, hey, the king tried it, you can try it. Now they're fighting against us. Those who argued with me about you are now fighting against us. Are now fighting against us, with those who argued against me. I guess that's good. Yes. I'm thinking this is pretty much, I think I need to do this. He's claiming. Okay. This is going to be the end of this one. A little long, but I wanted to make sure because this one is extra special here. Because we found a king, and I can pretty much point to the king. But it's very important that you know and remember all those verses that I showed you. And you can look up Revelation as well. But this one is done for now.